Hello everyone, Stephen Barber here, Freedom Lifestyle Guide and Vlogger on the beach Sunday morning in Mazatlan, and it is a pretty quiet, kind of subdued atmosphere on the beach today. Even the ocean is more subdued. It's quite calm. There's not much breeze, not much waves, and not much people. It's just kind of a quiet morning down here on the beach. And kind of surprising because Sunday is kind of a family day, and down at the far end of the beach there are some families gathered, but not that many. Then this morning I went for a walk and I met a friend of mine. His name's Larry. He's a retired lawyer, criminal defense lawyer actually, very interesting guy. I think you'll be hearing some more about him from me. But we had a really interesting talk, as we often do, and this morning was around beliefs around religion, I suppose. And so it's kind of inspired me to make another short video about what we talked about. And that is that I know I came to my own conclusions mostly through my own intuition around transformation in my belief system. And then it's interesting as time goes by, and I guess maybe because I'm more open to it, other people come along with supporting evidence to support some of the decisions that I've made to move away from certain belief systems to other belief systems. So one of the things that we talked about was the idea of sin, the idea of good and evil, and taking responsibility for our own lives. So part of the discussion was around the idea that, well, if we believe that we can give our sin to someone else, then it kind of takes the responsibility away from us for our own lives. Now, I understand all the minutiae from my background about that, that we're sinful and all that kind of stuff. But this idea that you could load in original days, I guess, a donkey or some kind of an animal to bear all the sins and then drive it out of the city and take all the sins away. And then the concept about, well, what does that mean about your own personal responsibility? So that's one concept. Another concept was when I related a kind of a fun story growing up. There was a woman in a circle of friends that was a devout churchgoer. I won't say the faith because you'll probably figure it out on your own, but it doesn't really matter. And I was always intrigued that she felt very free during the week to do whatever she wanted, to quote-unquote sin in any way that she felt she wanted. And then just go to church on Sunday and say she was sorry and pay a few bits of money, and then probably have to quote some certain things, verbal things that she would have to say, and then that was absolved her of the whole thing. And that, again, like the animal being loaded up with sin, driven out of the city, and she was good to go for another week. Whereas the way I grew up was more along the idea that every day was like Sunday. You had to be right and do living correctly every day, and forgiveness was an ongoing thing, and being sorry for what you've done, and repentant and wanting to change, all that idea. So anyway, just a different ways of looking at things. And then the other part of the conversation that came up that I didn't know about was that, I guess, the story to do with Pontius Pilate and him sentencing Jesus to die on the cross. He brought light information. I haven't researched this yet, so it's just hearsay so far, but that in the Roman Empire rule of that day, it was impossible for, first of all, Pontius Pilate to do that, because the emperor had to do that. Only he had the permission to sentence death. Pontius Pilate did not have that authority. Neither did he have the authority to hand that authority over to, I guess in this place, a third or fourth party for that execution to take place. It just wasn't how their legal justice system worked at that time. So there's a discrepancy there. And then the other discrepancy relating to, having to go to church on Sunday and say you're sorry, is that apparently it wasn't until 300 AD when a certain conquering group came and overtook Judea at that time, and made them adopt the idea that there was a good God, and a bad God, Satan. And but prior to that time, in Jesus' time, their Jewish religion didn't recognize a bad God or a Satan, or therefore even a hell, because it just wasn't part of their belief system. There was only a good God that you were finding your way towards. And it's interesting because I don't remember any scriptures growing up that relate to Jesus saying that, if you don't believe me, you're going to go to hell. He said, I am the way, the truth, and life, and it's through me. And I guess we can all begin to interpret what he meant by it's through me as well, that you find truth, find love, find the Father. And again, trying to describe those ideas in thought concepts that were available for people to think about, reference about, 2,000 years ago, are not the same thoughts that we have, or thought references for today. So anyway, I guess my video is just that it's interesting, as I have intuitively, through my own guidance system, my own private conversations with God, where I've just said to God, okay, I don't believe that this stuff, so where do I go from here? And if you're going to send me to hell, then okay, go ahead and do that. I think you must be a bigger God than that to have. And if you can't have an honest conversation with me, then really you're not much of a God to really know. So that was my own decision. And then to have some of these ideas corroborated to me in supporting evidence in later years, much later years, is also just kind of interesting to me. So take from that what you will. It's just information that you may find helpful, you may find it confrontive, and I don't have an agenda either way. It's just to share my truth or my thoughts around the idea. So I hope you're having a good day and quiet. Goodbye for now from this quiet, overexposed background because it's so bright out there and so much in the shade in my palapa. Okay, bye for now.